But everybody wants to have a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing store because customers expect, nobody wants like a gross HTML looking store to shop on because it doesn't build trust. When your store looks good, it's just automatically more trustworthy. So I think for any niche, it's useful to have beautiful looking product reviews.
You're listening to ECOMMERCE, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Jameela Ghann, it is so good to have you here on ECOMMERCE. How you doing today? How you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm actually feeling really great too. I actually feel really good. So thank you. What about you? How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I'm not gonna deceive my audience. I hadn't had a chance to listen to if you had done an interview with anything like that, so I didn't know what kind of energy I was gonna get. But you're just like a ray of sunshine. It's just like it's actually very infectious to absorb it. So I feel great just being able to meet and talk to you. Yeah, it's been a long day. If my audience listens to the previous two episodes in order from this one, they can probably tell that my voice is drying out because sometimes we do 3 recordings in a day, and it's by the end of this I might be like full on Marlon Brando. So I just remind myself to have my water.
To have variance in the voice, that's good.
Mm-hmm. If I'm lucky, I'll get like a bubble in the back of my throat, and I'll sound like Joaquin Phoenix from Joker. So hope. It hasn't come up yet, but if it does, I immediately run to my girlfriend and be like, "Say, Murray, you want to hear a joke?"
Nice. I mean, I hope it doesn't get to that, but I do look forward to listening to it if it does.
I'll try to record it, but it is like it comes and it goes really fast, so I have to strike while the iron is hot. Anyways. So first question to get the ball rolling is for you to tell us what you do and what you're up to these days.
Yeah, so my name is Jameela, and I am the marketing manager for Fera.ai. We help merchants collect product reviews and display them beautifully on their store. So I do that. And then I also have a jewelry company, Allura Boutique, and we help people add meaning and beauty to their lives through jewelry. So that's mostly what I do during the day. That's how I spend my work days.
Mm-hmm. Now, that I have to say is a unique array of responsibilities, because I will talk to people who are, they're working on their drop shipping stores or their Shopify stores or e-commerce platforms, and then it's just kind of what they're doing. And then we also talk to people who run other agencies and other services, and that's what they're doing. But I don't think I can recall off the top of my head talking to somebody who's kind of managing both of those. So that's something that I'm definitely keen on hearing. So we'll get into kind of like the time management side of it.
Okay. Well, actually, the reason that I got the job at Fera was because I was doing Allura. So, I mean, I can empathize with merchants.
Right. Yeah, and that helps a lot too. One of the amazing things that is when I get to meet. Say one guy that sticks out was Tyler Jeffcoat. That was a great episode. I love it and recommend anybody who hasn't checked it out yet. But you can just tell how passionate he was about accounting and how passionate he was about the e-commerce space. And it was really like, I don't want to say demystifying, because it was just encouraging to see that you have people who they find what they're passionate about and they find a very specific fit for it and builds a much more healthier ecosystem. So I didn't see it coming when I got into e-commerce. I really didn't.
Nice. Well, and I'm sure he's a really happy person that he loves accounting and he loves e-commerce. That's the best life to live, when you love what you do. Yeah.
I still think back to that particular episode just to see a human being really be in their element, and I'm getting a lot of the same vibes here as well. So we can start one of two spots. We can talk about your business first, or we can jump into Fera. But I think we should start with your business first, because as you say, your acquisition of that job was the result of your store. So I know that your beginnings are very humble. It was you making jewelry with your mother. And I think you guys are just doing it for just really for the fun of it. So how did you two even decide to really start working on this?
So yeah, as you know, it started as a hobby, and like we had a bunch of jewelry, and we would start giving it away, and then people would be like, "Oh, can we buy your jewelry?" And we're like, "Oh my god, I cannot believe people want to give us money." And my mom was never an entrepreneur. She like works for the government, and I was still in university. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess we could start selling some of this stuff. So we just kind of grew organically. We started doing markets, and then people like were like, oh, can we carry your stuff in our store? We're like, I guess you can if you want to. So we had no real plan for the business. I was taking business in school, but business in school and business in real life are like two totally different things. So that's kind of how we started. And then it just organically grew. I met my partner in university, and then he joined the business, and we just kind of like failed our way to success. I
Yep.
think it's very interesting, but it worked. It worked.
Of everybody that I've talked to who did business in school, and correct if any of our more we'll say analytical or retentive audience members can call me out on this, feel free. I will transfer you money for a slice of pizza. But I'm pretty sure everybody who's been in a business school didn't actually get any real tangible value out of it, especially compared to the actual value of running the business. So was there were there any like philosophies or principles, fundamentals, pillars, or even something on a more granular level that stuck out to you when you were studying business?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
So also, to be fair, like I'm a little bit old. So when we were talking about marketing in my business school, we were talking about how new Twitter was. Okay. So like I'm
Right.
pretty old.
Hold
So
on a
the thing,
second. Pause here. I'm 31.
you're
So
31.
yeah, I'm 31. Warmer or colder?
So am I. I'm
Oh
31
wow.
too.
How about that?
But I think it was 2009 we were talking about Twitter in my marketing class. So it's pretty dated, the education, but I did learn a lot from my professors who were in like the entrepreneurship and innovation classes that I was taking. That it's all about like learning and being critical and just trying to apply your knowledge to new things. So it's not like they weren't really teaching us things in those classes. They were teaching us how to think and how to adapt. So I would say that that was like the most useful thing. But some of the other things, like I never use finance, and I have an accountant, so I don't do
Yep.
accounting. But just, knowing the basics enough that you can like understand how to get other people to do them is important, I think. Like the foundation. So I'd say that part is useful.
Yeah. And I can understand if just that early on conditioning could potentially have come about if somebody had gone through a different program. But I think at least being in like the business ecosystem with
Mhm.
other like-minded people allows the student to align themselves more into what they do afterwards, as opposed to learning the same fundamentals but in an unrelated program, which can have its own advantages too. But what I can see in this case, it just makes more logical sense to be in the business ecosystem.
Right. And that's also because I was going to like the major university in my city, but then there was another university that had just become a university, and they had professors that had actually ran their own businesses. And I was like, I'm transferring because there was too much theory at that school. And then I went to the other school. And I think that was like useful because you want people who are in the ecosystem to be teaching you a few things.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that theory isn't relevant, because it certainly is, but because you need both. In my opinion, I think the theory should come first.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know, man. I can't make my mind up on it, because I can also see the logic between like going for the practical application and then studying the theory to understand what it is I just did.
Right. No, I think there's something to that because I even will read physics books sometimes, and then I'll be like, oh, I do understand. I do know where that theory came from. Oh, I did hear about that guy. So it is important to know like basics before you start to build on more advanced things, or even to
Mhm.
try. So I will agree with you there,
Yeah.
but there's something to be said about just throwing yourself into it and learning as you go if you have the opportunity and the flexibility to fail. So I think that it depends on where you are in your life.
Yeah, that checks out too. People need to get their foundation set in their own life. Although I will say, so one of my friends, I've worked for him a couple of times in the watch industry, and he ended up being one of the co-founders for one of the food delivery platforms because there was a big boom for the food delivery. And I remember him telling me that like he was in his apartment and the power just went out and it was freezing, and he's just like, what could I do? What can I do right about now? I could kill myself. Yeah, yeah. Why don't I just do that? And
No,
and at that low point, that was when the inspiration to work on that business had taken fold. And so there is also some logic to, like, if things are dire, that could lead to inspiration in a way where, if like the more comfort somebody might find themselves in, the less of a drive there is.
right. That's fair. That's fair. And I think that's also kind of the beauty of like everybody's separate journey. There are so many things that like drive people to do great things that it's kind of beautiful to uncover people's stories and their journey. So I'm glad that you shared that with me, and I guess the listeners too.
That's the first time I told that story. I haven't brought him on the show yet, but technically he would qualify as a guest because of his experience. Anyways, so getting back to your store development, I want, or yeah, your, well, store shop, jewelry business development, and I want to take an opportunity to just address how you were able to have the product available in different stores and maybe some of the logistics involved in that. Now, when you say stores have reached out to you, I know that it had, having read it, there was about 80 different stores. Now, from my perspective, would it happen to be a mixture of like more like a lot of local shops, say smaller family-owned ones? Have any like larger retail chains, or even ended up in one of the more luxury malls? Like, what's been the spread for where the product has actually penetrated into the market?
Yeah. So when we were starting, it was definitely more local.
Yeah.
So I would say like the majority are local, and then in Canada. So when we started, we had opened up this like retail store, and then they were going to demolish the building, and they were like, "Oh, what should we do? We don't have a store anymore." So then we started doing trade shows. So we got people from across, like in our region, from trade shows, and then we were like, oh, it looks like people actually, are willing to wholesale. So then we took a road trip with our then, I think she was like 9 month old, all the way across Canada. And then we started like selling door to door with stores. And that was my partner's job. He was like really good at that. And then we were like, oh, we're doing really well in Canada. So then we decided that we would go to the States. So we went to the States, and then we wanted to get into a showroom. So we signed up with like a showroom, and then we did have the opportunity to go into Nordstrom, but we personally felt like it wasn't going to be good for our business because we just didn't have the logistics in place. We didn't have all of like we didn't have all the things that you needed in order to be in those retail stores, and it just we thought at the time that it wasn't going to be good for our business. So we decided to take a step back, and we mostly focused on stores that were doing between like 700,000 and $2 million a year that were more independently owned. So that's kind of where we decided our who want to support like local businesses. So that's kind of where our spread is, or our
Mhm.
market.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, it's impressive to hear the between what, 500,000 to $2 million in sales for a year. I myself, I never really had like a good grip on just what kind of revenue that smaller businesses could pull in. So that's actually impressive,
Yeah,
I got to say.
yeah. Some
No,
stores like they do really well when they're in like the trendier areas of
right.
like city, and they have like a really good niche. They do really well.
Yeah. So when you say the logistics weren't there for being sold into Nordstrom, uh, I I mean, I know, I mean, when I hear logistics, I think like shipping, packaging, just meeting demand. So was it a matter of there, because I know it's all handmade. Is it still handmade to this day?
So my mom will make the bracelets, but now, so I can go through the backstory. But
Sure.
now we do. My mom will make the bracelets, and we'll make some of the necklaces, and then we do drop shipping from the states or other suppliers in Canada because we ran. So first of all, we ran into some issues with our suppliers because we would do a lot of recycled brass, and like our recycled brass supplier was not reliable. So like it was okay when we were just like doing it for ourselves, but then when you want to start scaling, you're like, I cannot deal with like these supply issues. It's just going to ruin our business because wholesalers will make an order and they expect to get it within a certain delivery time. And then we have to make it. And then we have to wait for a supplier. So the lead time is so long. And I'm like, this is bullshit. We're not doing this anymore. So there was that issue. And then there was also like, you know, the barcoding. We had different SKUs. So like every different pair of earrings with a different recycled brass component would have to have like a different SKU. And we needed barcodes for that and all that other kind of stuff. So most of our issues came from our supply chain. So now we only do gemstone bracelets handmade because they're easy for us to make. The supply chain is like super solid and my mom really likes making them. So, and then also like I found that it wasn't even worth my time to make jewelry. So I was like, I could be making so much more money and like doing more things, like working on the business instead of in it. So we do have like, we had 2 part-time employees and we still have one who will make custom orders. But it's just honestly, at a certain point, it was about, do we want the headache? And like, what do we want this business to bring into our lives? So yeah, that's kind of where we went.
Yeah, and when I hear the term boutique, what I imagine from a cost benefit analysis perspective is boutique is a way of saying that we as a business choose to limit quantity in the interest of maximizing quality. And so it creates more of a demand, that there's always going to be more demand than there is going to be supply. So that's kind of like how I viewed boutique. But then I looked at the prices online and the prices are actually, you know, quite reasonable. So it's not like you're selling these things for $200, $300. It's what, like $39, $49. And so I guess in your view, like when you refer to it as boutique, what is the definition of it? Like, what is exactly quantifies it as a boutique? Is it just because it sells jewelry? Because if so, I got to talk to EB Games and be like, they're called Echelonics Boutique, but they sell video games. So I don't know. I don't know what.
So
what
to be fair, we did put a lot of. So Allure Boutique, when we had our store downtown in Calgary, we didn't only sell jewelry. We sold a lot of different things. Like we sold dresses, we sold cosmetics, we sold like, it was like a store, it was like a lifestyle store. So that's kind of where we started. And then the reason that we moved to jewelry, again, these were like a bunch of learning experiences because we used to sell like baskets and then the shipping cost was so high. And we're like, we're not doing this anymore. So we're like, oh, the jewelry is really easy to make. It's really easy to ship and store. And then that's kind of why we like moved into jewelry. We started to niche down. So boutique started because we were selling a lot of product categories.
Okay. I get that. I don't talk about that word too often. So, now, so you did mention, you touched on it for a second there, that part of the backstory was like how your mother was working on it. Was there something there that you wanted to expand on for us, or would you say that was the full scope of the story?
Well, the other part was, okay, so my partner, who's also my kid's dad, he was like, you know, I think I'm going to move to San Francisco and start a tech company. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. Because his brother had passed away from heart disease. So he wanted to start a company to kind of like prevent other people from suffering that same loss. So like, this is a good idea. You should go down. And he got accepted into Y Combinator too, which is like, I think a pretty big deal. So like, okay, that sounds like a plan. And he was the sales guy and he did like all the wholesale. And for me, I do not want to deal with accounts receivable. I don't want to follow up with people. I don't want to sell anybody anything. So I was like, okay, we're taking the business online. So that's why we do also drop shipping too. So that's kind of another reason why we have the handmade stuff that's just from my mom and then the drop shipping stuff, because we were forced to change the business model because I don't want to do sales stuff. And I don't want to manage people either. Because I've managed people before and I don't like it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it can feel a bit odd to like give people orders or to delegate and stuff like that. I admit I'm the multimedia manager at our company, and it's taking some getting used to to delegate tasks out, and it really just comes from the fact that there's so much to do, and I just can't, and I just do not have the time or energy or wherewithal to do all of it. So some of it just has to go to the producer, who, by the way, thank you, Micah, you're doing amazing, keep it up. So the next part of this is actually before I was about to ask you how this then connected to your work with Fera, and then we'll get into that. We'll get into the review side of it, which is something that we really want to sink our teeth into. But I want to start on one other thing first, which was getting a dropshipping supplier in the States. So
Mhm.
I think you had a lot of leverage going in, so I imagine it was above average in terms of the ease of getting somebody willing to work. Like there was already a store, there was already a product, there was a proven business model there. So I would like to hear about how you found suppliers in the States and what it took to
Yeah.
kind of get them to work with you.
So I cannot take any credit for the
Okay.
US dropshippers. That is, I got them all on Modalist. So thanks, Modalist. That's a plug for them. They're useful. And then like also I will find people through craft markets who want just in Calgary who want to drop ship too. So
Okay.
Modalist and then just personal local connections.
Okay. I haven't heard of that one before. So Modalist, that one.
LYST, I believe.
Lyst, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Silly me thinking it was an I. Okay, no worries. So we're at the point now. So you were contacted by Fera.ai to want to work with them.
No. So what
Okay, my
happened was
apologies.
I think they had like so when my partner moved to San Francisco, where are you again?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, you're in Toronto. Okay.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you know how expensive San Francisco is, but it's
I
like,
I hear stories of just how the developers. Some of them end up living in a house with like three, four, or five other people just because it's so
yeah,
expensive to live down there.
that's exactly what he's doing. And then he would be like, oh, I rent a room. And it's like, it was like as much as our housing expenses for like, we have like a 3 bedroom house. And I'm like, I cannot believe that you're doing that. So anyway, so I was like, oh, I should probably like do some like consulting work or something. So I applied for some consulting jobs and then I started consulting for Fera. And then they were like, oh, we like you. Would you like a full-time job? And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. So that's kind of where that started. So I was like, oh, I'm super qualified for this because they specifically said that they wanted people who could empathize with other merchants or had a Shopify store. I'm like, oh, I have a Shopify store. So that's kind of how.
Right. Yeah, I can empathize with myself. No problem. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know what
Is
merchants
your
want.
sorry? Just one thing I'm wondering: is your partner still there to this day, or did he?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
still
Yeah.
in San Francisco. Yeah. So he's still working on he got some funding and he's like still working on making the product better for his users and onboarding users and all that other kind of stuff that you do with a startup. So he is still there.
Okay. Right on. Well, I wouldn't mind maybe at some point down the line, not today, although that would be hilarious. We just call him, but like so we can bring him on to as well, talk about his product, and
Yeah.
but we'll have you present too, just because your presence alone, I think, is worthy of the admission. So there's that. All right. So tell us about Fera.ai. And one thing I just want to keep in mind for our listeners is that a lot of our audience, I think at the very least, like they've heard of other apps, maybe even tried them out. We have Judge Me, we have Looks, we have other ones. I can't name off the top of my head. So coming into us, what was Fera's, I guess, positional strategy to what problems in the market were they finding going unsolved, even with the other apps already on the market?
Right. So I would say, at least from my perspective as a merchant, and I think that the other people, they have good solutions and obviously they're doing very well. But from my personal perspective, the biggest differentiator between us and the other ones is that the reviews are, first of all, easy to get and they look good. So, for example, on my store, like I tried some of the other apps and I was like, ew, this is like ugly. I don't want this on my store because I'm more focused on like the aesthetic, right? I'm selling the lifestyle and the dream. And like, I don't want grids on my store. I don't think that looks nice. So that's one of our biggest differentiators that you can like display reviews beautifully. And then, of course, we feature match with everything else. Like you can request reviews really easily. We get a lot of content submissions from merchants, customers. We also have really great support. So, like if you look at our Shopify reviews, you'll see we have 4.9 stars and we have like over 3,000 reviews. and a lot of them will mention our customer service because it's freaking awesome. So, and then, we have like the free plan that we do to onboard users so that they can test out our product and see for themselves. But like, I would say that the thing that separates us again the most is that our reviews are beautiful and our UI is great. We've had great designers work on it. We have awesome engineers. So like things are easy to use, especially for like people who are just starting stores and they're not technical. It's just easy to install. You click it, you install it, you throw up your review widget and call it a day. So it's pretty awesome from a merchant perspective. That's what I'm saying.
So one thing that I hear about it in regards to it visually is that I suspect that different niches would appreciate that to varying degrees. So in fashion, in jewelry, and in a lot of areas where aesthetics are key because
Mhm.
it's an aesthetic based industry. Fera would be a slam dunk.
Right.
So this might be something that you can actually unearth based on what um differentiation of the users. So for instance, if it's like a lot of people inside like the jewelry niche using it, that might be a sign as to like what niches are taken to it, which ones aren't taken to it. So there's a few questions in there. One of them is like, have you seen, for instance, different niches disproportionately use it? Some use it a lot, some not so much. Has the business itself considered that it might appeal more to certain niches because it values aesthetics?
So that's a really good question.
Thank you.
And what I can say is that before, so we used to be focused just on like social proof, and we did have a lot of like just drop shipping stores using our products. And then I looked at our analytics from last year to this year, and we used to have like 68% males using our product. And now it's like a pretty even split, which is like normal considering the demographic, but like the shift from male to a even female split is pretty remarkable. And the other thing is like when I do it's audits for our stores, like conversion rate audits. It is a lot of like lifestyle based stores. But on the other hand, the reason we have a lot of stores that do things like people who sell like guns and like
Mhm.
industrial products and like have really high revenue stores, because the other nice thing about Fera is that we have a lot of customization and like developers can really get in and use our platform to do anything that they want. So like on the one hand, with our new reviews being beautiful, we do have a lot more lifestyle stores. But on the other hand, we have a lot of like high revenue stores that are like that have a big development team that use our platform to do a lot of customization. So we kind of have now we have like two
Yeah.
separate two separate types of customers: people who love our product because it's easy to customize, and people who love our product because it's beautiful.
Yeah, and just touching very briefly on the guns for a second, there is that although guns are, I mean, it's a functional thing. Gun culture appreciates the aesthetics of them too. Like,
That's
if
fair.
people are into guns, like they can have an attractive appeal to them. So,
That's
I
true. That's
yeah,
true. I have looked
I
at some of their Instagram pages because who? I'll do audits. I'll be like, who are these these people? Because as you know, in Canada, like gun culture is not a thing.
no,
So
we
I'm
don't
like,
have a gun culture here. No.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like,
Like
oh, let me see
if you're part of if you want to get involved in a gang, I believe even gangs will run background checks on you. Like you have to go get to photo shoot. You have to have 3 referrals. Like, yeah, he's a straight G. He's good.
exactly. He's
Yeah,
straight. He's straight.
yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, but everybody wants to have a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing store because customers expect, nobody wants like a gross HTML looking store to shop on because it doesn't build trust. When your
Right.
store looks good, it's just automatically more trustworthy. So I think for any niche, it's useful to have beautiful looking product reviews.
Yeah, and I think that's true pretty much across every niche, and even for the creator too, right? To be able to look at their own store, because what we do is an extension of who we are. So whether
Exactly.
it's putting up books on a shelf, the books we put up are a reflection of the self. So
Yeah.
when we create a store, the store is a reflection of the self, and we. If somebody makes something and they don't care how it looks and it's messy and there's like HTML code like bleeding off the sides, that's not a good reflection of the person, even if their product happens to be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's very true. It's easier to sell like cheap products on a beautiful store than it is to sell nice products on an ugly store.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah. So,
So
sorry, was there another question in this previous statement? Because I think I only might have answered that, but I can't
probably, yeah. I think you summarize it pretty well. If it comes back to me, it was fate, and if not, it was also
remember.
fate. Now,
Perfect.
one of the things that I had seen, and you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember if this is something that you put in when you filled out the form for this, or if this was something I found on my own.
Mhm.
But it was the idea of like trust signals.
Yeah.
Now, I probably heard that term by now, but I can't recall hearing it. So, what exactly is a trust signal, and
Okay.
how does a website? I mean, does a website use them? Is it the user thing? I really I don't know what this word means. So let me have it.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked. Okay, I'm so glad you asked
I'm
because
glad I asked. I had no
trust
idea what it
signals
is,
they don't
honestly.
even have to like do with. There are so many things that don't even have to do with like product reviews that are included in trust signals. So like the one thing that we just talked about is design, right? The other thing is, do you have an about us page? Do you have contact information? If I go to your site, can I trust you that like I buy your things and like you're a legitimate business instead of some web page on the internet? Other things, normal things are like spelling and grammar. Like if you have a bunch of grammatical mistakes, can I trust you? Are you like legitimate? Other things are like the checkout buttons, the ones that show all the payments that you can make. And then obviously there's social proof like product reviews, how many people have purchased something in the past. Those are the main things that are trust signals. So, like, the more trust signals you have, the easier it is for somebody to be like, oh, I think I can give this person my money. And it's never like people aren't like looking for these things.
Right.
They're not like, oh, do they have this? Check, check, check. They'll go through your site and they'll be like, oh, this is kind of weird. Oh, they don't have this. Oh, this kind of looks off. And then they're like, F it, I'm not going to buy from these people. So those are like really important things that you have to pay attention to when you have a website. Otherwise, people just aren't going to buy from you.
Yeah, and I think the same is true as well, even just if going to a mall in person and just identifying which are the stores where like, my heart goes out to anybody who's struggling in their business, but you have people who are like standing outside and they're just like nervously rubbing their hands together because they really need people to come in their store, and they didn't really think too carefully about location because they're competing with like six other stores, and
Yeah.
and
Or
they
like the
and, and
stores
they all get
that just
together
have
for lunch.
rats.
And
It's true. It's true. You're right. You're right. I totally agree. I totally agree. Or like those, yeah, especially in those old, I don't know what kind of, like, those tier, I don't know what they call them, but like class B malls or something. And they
Class
have like,
B.
yeah, I think that's what they're called. And like you'll see these stores and all they have are just like tables with stacks of like clothes on them and like they don't have any decor. They have really bad lighting and it's like dark and you're like, are they open or are they closed? It's like weird. Like I'm not going in there. So like little things like that.
Yeah, or like, because here in Toronto, we do have a mall that I don't know if it counts as Class B. It might be considered as Class A, depending on I don't know your perspective. It's interesting. I never really thought about that before, but like here where I live in specific, we have a AAA mall nearby, which is Yorkdale Mall. It's
Yeah.
renowned, and then but we also have some other malls. I don't want to call them out by name because that's not nice, but like there are some ones that raise a lot of eyebrows. Some of them are so abysmal. It's actually fun to visit just because you see like floor tiles from the 1970s, and there's businesses that are still that this has been in operation the entire time. Like you just like this 80-year-old uh, uh, I don't know, like Lebanese woman. She just comes into her lemonade stand every day and just makes lemonade, and she's been doing fine all this time. Like it is, I would love to check out like the Class D or the Class E malls because they are so like out of sync with the reality that it actually is like stepping back into like the 1970s. Like
It is.
it's like a nostalgia trip. Yeah, like
Our
they
little
got a
places.
Zellers, and they actually have the restaurant in the Zellers is still open. Like,
Nice. Nice. I like it. Okay, that's awesome. I feel like that's worth a visit. That's so good. Do they only take cash too? I like the places that only take.
well, I mean, just so you know, I'm hypothesizing, but I think there is one still around. I would. It's been a while since I looked into it, so I don't want to mislead you and make you think that this is still in existence. But I will say that if it is still around, they probably take credit cards the old-fashioned way, where they have like the swipe machine and they go shoot. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, if I ever come to Toronto after everything's not the way it is, then I'm gonna search for that place. I'll hit
Well,
you up.
I'll look at it online because I remember seeing a blog post about like the most depressing malls in Toronto that you must visit. So I'll see if it's still around. I have, for some reason, I'm thinking that of all the malls, these ones are going to survive COVID for some reason because all the people on the inside have no idea it's even happening.
Oh my gosh, their clocks are still set to 2015. That's who they
I don't like the look of those kids. And what do they got there? Tamagotchis?
are. What is Tamagotchi? Oh, I checked out the Neopets. I know this is off topic, but
Wow,
I looked
yeah
at the
so
Neopets website like mid last year because I'm like, I want my kids to play Neopets, and it was still like the nice, well, not nice, but it was like still the HTML like old school site that I remember playing when I was like 11. And then I went back the other day, and it's all updated, and they have these updated characters, and I'm not vibing with it at all. It like hurts me that it's updated. It kind of feels like a betrayal of my past.
Would it bother you if because I've never done this before, but now that we're on video, would it bother you if I screen shared for a second and just pull up Neopets real quick? Okay.
Yes.
We're video show now, so I'm gonna take advantage of this.
Please do.
By the way, I like one of the instructions earlier. One of our strategies, we eventually want me to be like the Joe Rogan of the e-commerce podcast, and so I have to do this.
I believe in you.
Okay, so you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so this is the Neopets. So just so our audience understands, every episode of Ecomonics, we like to mix things up. We want to reward people for listening episode after episode. Makes things fun. So I was not into Neopets. I was not a Neopet fan at the time, but I see where you're coming from. It has that new like Nickelodeon teenage angst appeal to it, like those fairies.
I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. Can you Google what the Neopets website used to look like? Because it was only in the last like 8 months that they've updated this site.
Okay, I'll try.
There has to be like a cache version or something. Yeah.
Best thing I can do is just try to find the images for it.
Images is fine.
Oh, there it is. Neopets Classic. Oh no, I lost it. See, I'm so impatient. Is
that a side by side? Because it used to be so good. I was excited. My friends had a little song. We said, Neopets, Neopets makes you addicted to the internet. That was like our jingle. All
right, is this it?
Yeah, that's what it used to look like.
This is so much more wholesome. It's like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those educational games that you would play where you go like Sammy's Science House and Millie's Math House. And like you learn and have fun at the same time.
I love it. That's like what I want. That's what I want from Neopets because I want to put my kids on Neopets, but I can't with this new website. It's just unacceptable.
No, I get it because it's not just about like going to war with the flow of time or anything like that. It's also just about what kind of tone that it creates to the fan and by doing so who it attracts. Now I think Neopets Classic is still around, so it looks like you still have like a classic take on it.
Yes, that's what I want to see.
Okay. For sure. That was fun. By the way, can Neopets fight each other, or is it just like a conscientious subjector version of Pokemon?
I think you can play other players on certain games, but like basically you just keep your Neopet alive and like buy stuff for your pet. Okay. It's like an upgraded Tamagotchi.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. I have no idea how we got to that point, but that was fun. All right.
I'm actually going to take this off because it's really hot in here. I didn't put the fan on because I didn't want it to be hot. So if anybody's like, oh my God, why is she so moist? It's because it's hot.
Yeah, well, if any of my audience has a problem with that, y'all need to find better things to complain about. There, I said it. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get back on track here. Although
Okay,
that was a
sounds
blast.
good.
So, and by the way, guys, precursor for what's gonna happen down the line. Because remember, my orders were to like try to be like the Joe Rogan show. So, what do you think is gonna happen, people, when we end up doing like 3 hour long episodes? That stuff is gonna happen. All right, foreshadowing over. So, there was another term that I was curious about. It was called customer journey mapping. So I know what a customer journey is, but I don't know, like, is it trying to understand the customer going through the funnel? Is it understanding, well, what point in their life that they're at in order for them to be a customer of the store? So that's my guess on it, but I'd love to hear what customer journey mapping really is.
Okay, so in the context of like in general, customer journey mapping is basically when you say, okay, this person, this is my ideal target market, and this is their flow going towards what you want, which is to buy. But it doesn't stop at purchase. It's also like what happens post purchase. So, like basically, all the touch points that your customer has with your brand is the customer journey. But at Fera, we only focus on what happens on your website. So we'll show you things like where customers clicked, what kind of widgets they interacted with Fera, and we'll give you an overview as to the likelihood for other people to buy based on what your past customers have done. So basically, what you can do is you can go in, you can say, okay, let me look through the customer journeys for people who have bought. Let me see the kind of flow that they went through, and then you see that they check out, and then you can compare that to people who didn't buy. So you can be like, oh, okay, this is what I know like normal people do. This is where people are falling off. So you can say, oh, they exited from this page, or oh, they clicked on this and then they left, and then you can go to that place and be like, oh, that's because something's broken, or my pictures are ugly, or this doesn't have a product description, or something like that. But for me personally, what I use the customer journey for was I noticed that the majority of my people were checking out my About Us page. So I was like, oh, people are really interested in this About Us page. Like, how can we make it better? How can we make it more about like who we are, kind of our journey, what kind of problem we solve for people? So then I improved my About Us page just by looking at the customer journey. And then there are like a bunch of other tools that you can use in tandem with Fera. Like you can use heat maps, so like Lucky Orange or like Hotjar or anything like that, which are super useful for mapping your customer journey on your website. But just having kind of a visual on what people are doing on your site is like really useful for improving your site experience and improving your conversion. So that's the customer journey.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we can go so far as to like, can you tell, say, based on IP address or anything like that, like whom it actually was? Like, if you wanted to be so specific to actually figure out like what is this person? Because if you know who it is, that can
Mhm.
dictate a lot about their behavior at that point.
So you can't tell like specifically who this person is unless they were already a customer on your site and like you have that information. But we're not like out there like Google and
Right,
Facebook
right, yeah.
trying to steal people's information. But you can tell like what device they're on, what country they're coming from, their city, the type of browser that they're using. So you can have that kind of information, but you can't know exactly who they are. But like if you have enough data, it gives you a good picture of the type of people who are using your site, or the cities that they come from, or like the countries that you have to focus on, right? So yeah, but we're not gonna, even if we did know exactly who it was, we wouldn't tell you exactly who it was.
Yeah, I probably went too specific with that question. It was more about just like how much ability it gives you to infer the behavior, because like somebody might get to the About Us page, but without knowing anything else about them, there's like 100 different reasons why they might leave. They might,
Right. No, that's
th-
true.
yeah.
And that's why you would have to use the customer journey that we provide with like something else, right? And you have to put together a bunch of different pieces in order to understand why this person did that. So, for example, you can say, okay, this person came in through search, or this person came in through Facebook, and then if you start to see a pattern, you're like, oh, most of these people are coming through ads. Maybe I'm not targeting, and they're leaving after this page. Maybe I'm not targeting the right person. But like you have to be in a space where you're willing to like put all the data pieces together and then come up with like an inference. And then you test, right? Because like you might be wrong, but then you can use like A B testing and you can say, okay, I'm gonna change this. And then does it improve customer retention? Or does it improve? Does it decrease the bounce rate? And then you see what the final outcome is, and then you just move from there. That's what life is. You
Yeah.
just are like, let me try this. If it works, I do it, and if it doesn't work, I'll just find something else to do. It's the same on your side.
Yeah, what's great too because to be fair, it's not like I've interviewed somebody from Looks or interviewed somebody from Judge.me or at least not yet.
Hmm.
Um, but one thing I guess I didn't really realize is that the limitations of different software might be all they do is just the reviews, whereas
Yeah,
what you're really going for here is a way to also cover some other bases and help the almost what you're doing is like the reviews are a success metric. There's work that has to be involved both with the store, with the seller to make people happy, make them want to actually provide the review. So you use those reviews are a way of indicating how well things are going, which is, the reviews are always like that too. But um, I'll wrap this with another question. Now, this one, I don't want to call out another one of the apps by name, but
okay.
there is such a thing as like going onto AliExpress and importing reviews, put them
Oh
onto
yeah.
the website. Me, I've done that
Mhm.
because I just if I have an advantage to take, I will take it.
Right.
Um, and then you end up curing through like which ones are in Russian, which ones are in English, but which ones are like in good English. And
Right.
me, on a personal level, I was like, well, I would rather have like reviews written organically, but we'll get to that point. So all of that aside, I get. I'm sorry if this is like a kind of a dumb question, but is there import reviewing or review importing?
So you can import reviews from your other platforms. So if you're already on another review platform, you can easily import them. You can import reviews from CSV. However, the difference is that if your reviews are not verified, we will not say that they're verified on the platform. So we only put verified by Fera on reviews that we verify are by real people and real purchases from your store. So
Okay.
you can import whatever you want. It's your store. You can put whatever you want on your store. But if you want to have, again, those trust signals, then the ones that are verified by Fera are going to be a lot more powerful than the ones that are just like, they're just up there, right? Because like anybody can put reviews on their store. Anybody can like put social proof on their store. So that's why we want to make sure that we're doing right by the end user and our merchants who do get reviews organically by saying these are verified purchases, just like on Amazon. So I mean, yeah, there's nothing stopping you from putting whatever you want on your
Yeah.
site. But yeah, so you can import whatever you want. We just won't verify it.
Right. So that's a good way of finding the balance between letting people, but also like saying, "Hey, hold on a second. We didn't say that. We just okay, I get it."
Yeah,
Um, oh no, how did I manage to drop the next question? Okay, so anyway, let's rewind for a second here, and also just talk about some of the struggles for businesses who, let's just say, they're not importing reviews and they're not paying something on Fiverr to write a review. Though that first acquisition of trust is really difficult.
yeah.
So far be it from any one person to know the secret to it, but I'm asking you because you've seen a lot of activity from other merchants. So have you seen what people have been able to do to start getting some of those initial sales, even if their websites don't have that level of social proof?
Yeah,
And then you can also expand on it by also talking about like some of the different methods to then get the social proof from the user.
yeah. Okay. So some of the ways that you can add social proof that aren't particularly reviews is you can use social proof pop-ups that talk about kind of the traffic that you've had to your store, right? So maybe you don't have a lot of sales, but you have like a lot of people who have come to your store. Maybe they've added something to their cart. You can definitely say like so and so from Texas just added this to their cart, or like so and so just viewed this product, or there are like 10 people viewing this product. That's still authentic social proof that shows that like you are an active store. So that's something that you can add, which like you can do through Fera. And then the other thing that you can do if you like are like, okay, like I've had some sales, nobody sent in a review. When you're just starting, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people and be like, hey, I like you bought this. Could you leave me a review? Like most of the time, if you ask somebody, they'll be like, yeah, sure, right? So asking your first initial customers for reviews is another way to do things. And then what you could also do is you could send products to people and you could say, hey, I just launched my store. Like people who you know are like you're solving a problem for them and they would want this product. You can look for people on Instagram, you can look at your friends and family, you can say, hey, I have this product. If you like it, please leave me a review. Like people are willing to help other people out. So like it's just, are you willing to ask? Are you willing to do the work? So that's like for the initial part. And then if you have like a few sales, let's say you're, I don't know, you have like 50 sales a month or something, with Fera, you can just set up an ongoing campaign and you can perpetually ask people for reviews. And it's like a super simple process. Or you can ask your past customers through Fera too. But if you are new, I would recommend sending a personal email with a link directly to the product. That's what I would recommend. You can set up a one-time campaign if you want, but it's better if it's like personal and it comes from you in the beginning. And then you won't have time for that once your business grows. So then you can automate it. But yeah, that's my advice.
As it should be automated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a couple of other things I wanted to know about the software. So this one I saw from the company description. Pretty sure from Twitter, might have been from the website directly. In fact, now that I said it out loud, pretty sure it was the website directly, which is urgency optimization. So again, I mean, I know what optimization is, I know what urgency is, but what I'm not clear on is how this is something that's actionable, and really what the term means altogether in this context.
Okay. So going back to kind of, Fera is a lot different than other review platforms in that we do have a lot of functionality. So one of them is urgency optimization, which you just talked about, which is like things like checkout timers, saying like your cart will expire in 10 minutes, having free shipping bars, having product countdown timers, those kinds of things. And then the way that we optimize it is that in Fera, the reason that Fera is so awesome, honestly, is because you can set up so many different conditions and triggers. So you can be like, only show this if this person has a cart total over $100. Only do this if the person is in this area. Only do this if like this person has this particular item in their cart. So like you can optimize based on, like we were talking about before, your customer journey. If you know people who like have 4 items in their cart are more likely to buy if you show them a certain message, then you optimize for that. So that's why you can honestly, you can do so much. You can do so much. And like that's why developers love us, because you can do anything you want in our platform. Yeah. So that's what we mean by that.
Well, I gotta say, like, I keep in mind, I interview for the last few months. It's been like 4 people per week, so I have the luxury of getting in a lot of like incoming information. It's a lot to absorb, but I will say that I'm gonna try this software out for myself too. I got my store. And that's kind of the fun thing for me, is that like I do get to kind of like pick and choose who I want to support. Not that I have like that much weight. You know, I do host this podcast, but I only value my weight based off my. Yeah, like I got the podcast clout, but the weight that I value is like, you know, sales and tangible sales and all that stuff. So we'll get there, but yeah, I'm keen on trying it out too. So like,
yeah,
with the free version, is it like a limited day trial, or what would be the ideal time to then move on to the premium plans?
Right. So with the free trial, the limitation on the free trial is that you can only add 1 widget. So if you are like just starting out, you might want to just do like the social proof feed or the social proof pop-up. And then as you start making sales, you can upgrade if you want to. So there's like no limitation on time of the free plan. You can do 14-day trials on the paid plan if you want, but like you can use the free plan forever. So it's 14-day trials on the paid plan. But then we have like a few, like if you wanted to upgrade, if you want to talk to me, you can let me know. I can give you a year, something like that. So let me know. But yeah, there's no limitation except for the 1 widget on the free plan. And then the number of review requests that you can get. So typically, like if you're on the $9 a month plan, you can get a certain amount of like review submissions, but most people aren't making more, they don't have more than like 100 or 200 sales a month, like on that tier. So that's kind of the limitations for review content submissions, but nobody ever goes past it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and $9 isn't that much either. It's
no,
uh,
no,
yeah.
it's not. I could spend like nine. I can spend a lot more than $9 when I go through Starbucks with my kids. So it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
I sympathize. There's a Starbucks a little too near where I live, walking distance. Ugh. Okay, I had one more fair related question, which is this is one that I pulled from the Twitter, which is about the negative social proof. So
Yeah.
I can only guess what negative social proof might be. So let us know, what does your company characterize it as, and then what are some methods that you've devised to address and hopefully turn it into a positive?
Yeah. So negative social proof is any kind of behavior that people do that you don't want them to do. So I'll give like a real world example first. So like Texas, they tried to implement this campaign so people didn't litter. And they had a sign that was like, oh, like, don't litter, 7 million people didn't litter or something like that. But that increased the amount of litter that was happening because it was like a negative behavior that they showed people and they're like, oh well, I guess if like all these other people are doing it, then I could do it too, right? So that's negative social proof, and you don't want that on your site because you don't want people to take actions that you don't want. So one example of that is like when you have on your store like there are no reviews on this product. And it's like, oh, well, there are no reviews. Like, is it even like why? Why are there no reviews? Like, should I even buy this? This is weird. So with Fera, you can either show reviews from similar products or you can hide 0 reviews when there aren't any. So that's one way to avoid negative social proof. Or like the other thing is with the people watching. So like we have this widget that's like shopper events where you can show how many people are watching or how many people added to cart. You can set like a limit. So you can say, instead of being like one person is viewing this, which is like, oh, ew, only one person is viewing this product, you can say like only show if more than 5 people are viewing it to make it show that people are actually looking at your product. So we help you avoid negative social proof in those contexts.
Would it be possible to set the time parameter? So if like this many people looked at it within the span of an hour or within the span of a day?
Yeah, yeah, you can do
Okay.
that too. And honestly, anything that you feel like you want to do, you can do it. So,
Okay.
except for the fact that we have a limit on the look back period. So you can't say like look back a year. Like we're not, because that's not relevant data for your shopper, right? So we have a limit on the amount of time that you can look back. But you could say an hour, you could say a day, you could say a couple of
Okay,
weeks.
right on.
So like if you're a new store and you don't have a lot of traffic, you could say like look back 2 weeks, right? Because it's like if you're new, that's still pretty recent data, but like you're not going to be able to say look back 6 months. Like we don't allow that.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite a while. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's perfectly logical.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, we're pretty much close to the hour point. I got to say, this has just been a lot of fun. One of the things I did want to ask you, like, about some of the speaking arrangements that you had done, because I just wasn't sure, like, how you got involved in them and why people reached out to you. And then I met you, and I'm like, okay, now I understand why people get her to do speaking arrangements. It makes perfect sense.
Thanks. That makes me feel so good. I appreciate that.
But I'm happy to do that. And also, I may at one point have been multitasking while we were talking, and I found the mall that I was picturing in my mind. So I'm
Are you
gonna
gonna share
share
it?
screen this. Yeah, I want you to see this. It was called. It's only being used now to film Stranger Things. It's called Honeydale.
Oh, nice. What? Okay, that tile is like the tile at the Dairy Queen and like in the neighborhood over from me, which is like so ghetto. It was the same when I was like 10. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, here's
Oh
another
my
shot of it. This is
god.
all I can find because I don't have my own personal Jamie, at least not yet. Uh,
Wow.
and yeah, it's just like just the signage takes me back to a simpler time, back when like you can go to a fair and just like there were games you can play where you just shoot things. And it's just like ugh, okay, I would love to I truly would love to visit a mall like this, but it is
It's closed.
super closed. Yeah, like it's probably like a health risk to have it open at this point, but
Oh
it just
my god. You know, there's probably asbestos or something in there, honestly. So who knows?
yeah. Yeah, whole impacted a whole generation. Really reflected well in the music. All right, so that is all we're gonna do today, Jameela. It's been a blast, and we'd be
Yeah.
happy to have you back. What I said earlier, bring your partner on, have that would be a lot of fun. And the door is open, so whatever you have in mind, if you want to come back in a couple of quarters and just let us know how things are going with the business as well, whatever the
Okay.
case is, I would be more than happy to continue on with this conversation.
Cool. This was good. I'm gonna find you on LinkedIn. Oh, I guess I should like plug myself in there and stuff. So
I was gonna make sure you did that. No worries.
okay, cool. So if anybody wants to start with Fera for free, they can head over to Fera.ai, Fera.ai, and you can sign up for free. We have a Shopify app, BigCommerce app, soon to launch a couple other platforms. So stay tuned for that. And then if you want to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn at Jameela Ghann, and you can follow us on all the social media at Fera Commerce. That's us.
Awesome. Well, audience, I hope you had a good time with this one. I know I certainly did. So your participation, as always, means a great deal to me. So for that, I say thank you. And to my guest, again, thank you for being the ray of sunshine that you are. And to everybody, just take care, and we'll check in soon. All the best.
While those things move online.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that came out of Clio here recently.
Hey, this is Joseph from ECOMMERCE. Just wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this content your time and attention. I hope you learned something. I can say with certainty, I have learned something with every episode that I have done, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's a couple things you can do to help us out. If you want to check out the audio content, we are available on all major podcast platform distributors. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review. It helps a lot. And while you're here on YouTube, there's a lot of things you can do to help out as well. It's not going to take very long. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for this episode, and hit the notification bell so when we have new content for you, it's going to be at your doorstep ASAP. Lastly, this podcast is created by Debutify, the best Shopify template available. It is 100% free for you to start, and it can change your life. It can make you so much more free than you are right now. So if this episode wasn't enough to convince you, I think a few more might do the trick. So have at it.